This concept video is about karma. Karma is a Buddhist term, and it colloquially has the meaning that goes something like, well, if you do some bad thing, then a bad thing will eventually happen to you. So karma, justice kind of a thing, right? So it is commonly understood as a universal balance system between the good and the bad. There's a bit more to karma, and this is my interpretation of the overarching Buddhist philosophy on the definition of the word karma. I'm having a cup of coffee right now. When I drink this coffee, I will eventually need to urinate it out. Or the particles in this coffee, namely caffeine, it will have an effect on me, on my brain, and it will give me kind of the jolt I'm looking for in a cup of coffee. I'm recording this video right now to show it on YouTube. And when I do it, I cause the event of it being uploaded. I open the possibility that viewers can see it, viewers can ignore it, somebody can comment on it, somebody can dislike it. I open the first action that leads to the potential sequence. Karma is basically that sequence or the chain. And when I do something, the follow-up effects that happen and continue forming the circle, that is what initiating karma is, basically. So every action you do invites karma. Every action you do has a follow-up potential, and that is basically the karma of your actions. So how did this term get, interpreted into, oh, good things eventually happen to good people, bad things eventually happen to bad people? If I don't have a sense of morality and, I sucker punch everybody I see on the street, then what's the follow-up from there? Some people might just be afraid and just get punched. Some people will call the police. Some people will fight back because I'm just basically assaulting them with no real reason to. My initial action and the karma that it provides is related because my initial action lacks any sense of morality. So it makes sense that this sort of a bad initial action would cause a chain reaction of bad consequences for me. On the other side of that, let's say I'm a very big philanthropist and then I like to help people whenever I can. And if I volunteer at animal shelters and if I volunteer at soup kitchens and such, then what are some of the follow-ups that can happen from that? I can network with people with similar interests. I have the potential to help somebody who, through my help, gets the support they need in order to come up in their life, and then I form a network like that. I also have the possibility of learning more about the social systems that necessitate animal shelters and soup kitchens in the first place. So ultimately, all those things have the potential to benefit me. And because my initial action was motivated from the place of good intentions. So this is good karma because you're doing good in the world. You're invoking this chain of good things to happen. But the common misconception is that, it doesn't have to be bad only invites bad. It doesn't have to be good only invites good, right? So if I sucker punch people, maybe a boxing coach sees the potential in me and wants to coach me and then I become a world champion in boxing. This is a possibility, right? And let's say I go to an animal shelter and then I, do volunteer work, but then one of the dogs has rabies and then they bite me and then I get sick. This is also a possibility. When you do something, you have to be aware of all the possible outcomes. If you go into an action with the intent of, okay, since I'm doing this, I'm expecting this result, then majority of the times you might get your desired result, but it's not a guarantee. But if you get disappointed by it, then it is ultimately your blindness to the potential effects. And so why is this so important in Buddhist philosophy and life coaching? When you have a thought and that thought inspires feelings and that feeling inspires action, you're inviting karma. Let's say I have this intense desire to drink because I'm dependent on alcohol. And that makes me feel desperate, because my underlying thought is I am addicted to alcohol and I feel desperate as a result of that thought. But when I invite the action of picking up that shot glass and drinking, then I actually invite the karma that comes from that additional drink. It can lead to more drinks. It can lead to more liver failure. It can lead to more physical, psychological dependence on alcohol. It can lead to my family leaving me. It can lead to so many other possibilities that all stem from this one shot glass. When you learn to become an observer of your thoughts, you learn that not all the urges you have need to be followed through with action. And that is a really powerful thing, because the entire chain of karma that comes from this one event, you're uprooting it from the source. You're just not starting that chain reaction at all. And that is a really powerful tool to have. And it comes from the perspective of understanding what karma actually is.